Okay. Well, hi, I'm Dr. Susan Blum, and welcome to my open office hours on Fridays. Um, this is something that I decided to start today. This is our first one, a little bit of a last minute sort of idea, but I'm going to start doing this every Friday because I'm now working from home. And for those of you, and we're going to talk about that today, who can, what it means to take care of yourself, social distancing, what we need to do during this pandemic. We are in the middle of an infectious disease pandemic, and it's really scary. And I have anxiety like all of you do. And so we're in this together. And so I thought that I'm going to just have an hour from 11 to 12 every Friday where I'm going to rant for a few minutes, but it's really meant to be a conversation. I'm going to answer your questions. If there are no questions, I might talk a little bit about just prevention and immunity and immune support, and so I will end up doing some of that for sure, which will help prompt more questions. But this is going to be, it's office hours, but it's really at home with Dr. Blum because I'm not getting dressed up for you guys, right? So I did shower. I took a shower this morning, and which does bring me to point number one about, staying at home, right? And working from home. It's really important to keep to have a schedule, to keep some sort of schedule. Don't let day after day after day go without taking a shower. I do that I usually have one day on the weekend, like Sundays, where I'll work out, do my workout in the morning and I won't shower. Sometimes I'll still shower right before bed, but I have days like that here and there, but don't start doing that for the whole time you're home. You need to have some sort of routine. I think our mental health and our stress, and I'm going to really speak to stress probably today, our mental health and our mental wellness is going to be the most important thing. And I'm struggling with that just like the rest of you. I have a bricks and mortar business. I have 12 people who work for me, whose livelihood and my own, I'm trying to keep going during this time. And this is really scary. And it's really scary. And then you get stress system and you get a stress response and you start getting flustered and all these symptoms and you're like, oh my God, am I sick? Right? Am I getting it? And so yeah, crazy, crazy times. And so what can we do? And our self-care is going to be the most important thing. And stress and managing stress and anxiety is going to be the first. So here's my tips I'll start this off with a few tips. Keep a schedule. Make sure you're going to sleep. Sleep is really important for your stress system. So keep your bedtime. Don't start staying up really late and ruining your sleep. That'll make you so stressed the next day. Shower. Go for a walk. You can go for a walk in your neighborhood. Just wave to people from across the street, and even if you can work out in your own home or however you exercise, can't go to the gym. The weather's warming up. It's still a little cool here in the Northeast, but the weather's warming up enough. You're going to be able to start getting outside every day. And so I recommend that really highly. Exercise boosts your immunity. Stress lowers your immunity. Start practicing, some sort of app or something that, you've been meaning to do. Put that into your schedule at home. We're all going to have enough food. The purveyors, what I've read is, all the purveyors that have been supplying restaurants, there's a lot of food in this country, right? We're not going to have a food shortage. They're just going to figure out Walmart's hiring 150,000 people, Amazon's hiring 100,000 people, and they're all going to figure out how to get the food to us. Okay. It's all going to get delivered. So there's going to be this e-commerce thing that's going to go nuts, and we will find food. And so we're not going to starve, right? The food, the store shelves will get restocked. And so, which brings me to the first question, actually. And so let me share with the rest of you in terms of how to ask me questions. I see there's 36 of you who have joined so far. There's a chat box. For those of you who have not done Zoom before, if you just take your mouse to the bottom of the screen where you see my picture, a little toggle bar pops up and there's a chat box. And so you click on that, and that's where I want you to put your questions. And you just type. And at the bottom of the chat box, it says type message here. You just, everyone. And so make sure you're doing all panelists and attendees that you can post your questions there. So actually, Melissa, the setting was on, make sure your setting is on all attendees, that'll see the question. But there is a question that was sent to me, to the panelist, was, is it safe to bring in food from restaurants? And what I would say is this, and this is the same, I got a FedEx delivery today because we're going to be getting deliveries. And I decided to get, an inexpensive big monitor to work from home. I'm going to adapt it, plug it into my laptop, because I am seeing patients from home. Actually, there's some interesting news about the ability to now see patients at home, which is very good. Zoom and video. The government has allowed us now to, I used to have to only see our whole center, you can only see a new patient if you come physically to see us for the first visit, if you live outside of New York, out of state. They've waived all of those rules now, so that even for an initial first visit, we're allowed to do telemedicine. And so we're already set up to do video visits from home, but now I can do it for new patients too. But anyway, so I ordered a new monitor and to plug into my laptop, because doing charting and stuff on my laptop is, this is going to go on for a few weeks, I really need to have a bigger screen. So the FedEx guy delivers it this morning, and I stick my head out the window and I said, I said, okay, do I need to sign anything? If not, just drop it, just leave it there. He said, nope, don't need to sign. I said, have a good day. And I leave. And my husband, before I say anything, opens the door and brings it in. And I said, okay, leave it there and go wash your hands. And so what I would say is that, if you're going to, yes, I think you should bring in food from restaurants. We need to support the food. You need food. They need the business. Food delivery, let them deliver it to you, pay for it in advance, let them sit outside. Now, if you want to go pick it up, what they'll also do is, a lot of places, like I know Organic Farmer, where I'm a co-founder, we're a healthy, fresh produce, organic, grab and go place. People are emailing in or calling, and we have a table outside the store. And so we just leave in the bag with your name on it. It's out there and you just go and pick it up. And so the idea is to avoid the person-to-person contact. I think you go and pick it up and you don't touch your face, you bring it home, you wash your hands. All right. And so you just keep washing your hands. So you bring it in the house, unpack everything, take the food out of all the plastic stuff, take all the bags, throw them away, right? Have one person just do all that, put it all in the garbage, and then just wash your hands. So don't eat out of the containers they give it to you. Put it all on your own dishes, and I think you're fine. Okay, we're fine. There's no evidence that we have any problem with the food delivery. And so I think that with precautions, and it's just these are the precautions that we all have to take. So it's really about hand washing, staying 6 feet away from anybody, especially if you don't know who they are. And if you touch surfaces that you don't know where they've been, then just, touch them. Just make sure you keep washing your hands, and wipe things down. So things that are disposable, like the packaging that's coming in from a takeout or a restaurant, just dump it all, put it in the garbage, tie up the garbage bag, and then wash up really good. Okay. And so I think that with all those precautions, we're really okay. We're really fine. I think the food itself is fine. And so it's really just it's really just the being breathed on, by other people, and being exposed to other people, like direct contact. Now, I know in the hospitals, we know that the virus can live on surfaces. And I think the more precautions you can take, the better. But I think you can do that with precautions. We have to go to the store to restock ourselves. So how do you go to the store? What I did was I went at 8 o'clock in the morning when my greens market opened, and the greens market opened, and I'll answer your question in a second. The greens market opened, and I was there as soon as they opened. There was not a person in the store. And didn't talk to anyone, stayed far away, wiped everything down, washed my hands, wiped down my credit card, wiped down my phone. When you come back home, wipe everything down with alcohol, a sanitation wipe, Purell, but even your phone, and try not to even touch anything else. Don't leave your stuff in the car. Like when I went into the grocery store, I only brought the credit card, and I went into the store, and I've actually got disposable gloves. I mean, this is what I am actually doing, and my store actually has disposable gloves outside. So I wore one disposable glove, and I left my other hand free to hold my credit card and the keys to my car, left those in my pocket, and I just used my one gloved hand to collect everything. I mean, now this might be a little too neurotic for some of you, but if you want to know what I'm doing, and then because I tried to figure out how to get in and out of the store, and then what I did was I took my anyway, my one gloved hand I left to be touching things, and then my other hand had my personal items. And so when I was done with everything, I just took the glove off and threw it away, and then I washed my hands. Okay, and I wiped down my credit card, and I wiped down my hands, and I wiped down. We're all doing the best we can, but there's no evidence. In the hospital rooms, they swabbed them down to see how long the virus lived on those surfaces. There were massive amounts of virus in that room. And so for people who, just passing through a store, it's not like somebody's living there and breathing on things who's very sick. The amount of exposure would be very small, I would think. Okay. But it still means to take those precautions. So 100% don't stop. We have to get food from the outside. Most of us are going to still need to do that. If you can avoid and use up all your food at home, that's good. But the restaurants and the takeout thing, I think all the restaurants are taking really good precautions. Their people are all wearing masks when they're producing food. Food production and hygiene in restaurants has always been a really big thing. So let's help keep some of those businesses alive and the economy going, I think, by doing the takeout. But I would still take precautions as you bring it into the house, mostly about the packaging, okay, and the people who brought it in. All right. So similar to that question on bringing food from restaurants, how should we do if we want to cook for someone else? What precautions should we take? I mean, for neighbors, parents living in a different house, not exposing them in case we had the virus. Okay. And so what you're going to, I don't know, most people don't have masks in the house. But what I would say is that here's the thing, once you're at home this is why we all need to stay home. Once you're at home for 2 weeks and you haven't been exposed to anybody else, you have your circle, right? You have your circle of people that are at home with you. And then and if no one's coming and going from the house, you know exactly who your exposure is. If you have somebody coming and going to work, and there are plenty of people who have to go to work, and we're grateful for them, right? They're forming, like the grocery store workers, they're like frontline people right now. If you know that your circle is closed, you know where you're working, and you know who you're exposed to every day, and you know who anyone else in your house is being exposed to every day, and it's a fixed small group, and 2 weeks have gone by and nobody's sick, then you're not you're okay. You don't have the virus. And so you can start cooking and sending things out to other people and just drop it off outside their house. The problem is that if you're living and working with people who are, if you're living and or going to work, and there's just concentric circles of people who you don't really know what their exposure is, you come home every day and you decontaminate yourself. You wash your hands all day, and you come in, you take off your outer stuff, you leave your shoes outside, you wash your hands all day also, and to not expose people that come into the house. But if you are out in the world getting ongoing exposure, you don't know whether you'd be a carrier, and you probably should not make food for others. I'm not really worried about the food, like I said, because you heat it and all that, but I don't know. I think there is something we don't know about that. And so I am thinking that with that question, I just want to reassure you that for those of you who are really doing quarantine at home, a stay in place at home, you really, shelter in place, those rules. I think once the 2 weeks have passed and everybody in your household is fine and no one's leaving, you can cook for somebody else if you want to. And so there's that question. I've been wiping down my steering wheel and gear shift also. Yes. And so that's a good point. So I have these wipes I left in the car, although I don't think I'm going to need to go out for a little while, because I sort of started doing this last week. I was doing this when I was stocking up the house. But wipe down your steering wheel, wipe down your personal good. Just take wipes and wipe every place that you can even find. And so it's just precautions. The most powerful and most important precaution is definitely reducing your exposure to other people. Um, so 6 feet distancing, hand washing, like we said. And, the self-isolation, I have a group of 4 of us in my house, and we're all home. Actually, I'm the only one who went out and did a few things, and I sort of feel bad because I realized that I did go and I stayed across the room from people, but I did pick up a few things and I brought them into the house. And I'm feeling the responsibility for not just myself, but if I go out and I bring in the germs to the family and somebody else gets sick, I'll feel really bad. And so we all have to stay home. We all just have to stay home. I think in another week, they're estimating that in another week, we're going to see whether the quarantine in Italy has helped flatten their curve. They're sort of right ahead of us. And the whole United States is different depending on where we are. So I'm in New York. New York and San Francisco and Washington are like straight up, like we're like a week behind Italy. And so we're seeing what the quarantine in Italy did. We're not going to see that for 2 weeks in. So it's been a week. And so next week, I think we're going to see what the quarantine in Italy did for flattening the curve in terms of the spread. And so I think that we're probably going to end up in I think our country's going to end up in some sort of quarantine. And so for those of you, and I think that's a good thing. So I think for those of you, and this is not like a panic alarm thing, although there's a lot to be concerned about. There's a lot you can do. And staying at home is the first thing. And so if you're not already doing it, do it as if you were ordered to do it, right? And so we're all going to be, I think, eventually ordered to do it. And so what supplements should be taken to enhance immunity? All right. So enhancing immunity is my favorite supplements right now, which are easy peasy, you probably have in the house. Zinc is really important. It's 15 to 30 milligrams a day. And vitamin C is really great. Start with 1,000 to 2,000 for prevention. You can go up to 6 grams a day if you get sick. Both of those vitamins are actually antiviral. They slow down viral replication, which is really good. And they're also, vitamin C is a great antioxidant, because what happens when you get sick with the virus, it damages your tissues, and your immune system has to respond to it. And the immune system, when it's fired up to have to like attack the virus, to deal with the virus, your soldiers in your army are busy at work, fighting the virus. What happens is the virus, the immune system needs to resupply itself with bullets. It just needs to rearm and rearm. And that's what antioxidants helps it do. And so vitamin C not only helps protect your tissues from all the damage, like your lung tissues, but vitamin C also will help your virus replication go slower, and vitamin C will also help the soldiers be healthier, in your immune army. So those are the inexpensive. I don't know. I know it's really hard to find those right now. Everything's like back ordered and out of stock. The supplement companies are scrambling to try to, restock everything. I know that at Blum Center for Health, we still have stuff left. We got some orders in this week to restock. And you definitely can, I guess Melissa can even put, do you have any I can order Blum online? Yeah, so Melissa will put, Melissa, our health coach at Blum Center, is here. And she's gonna, she'll post on the chat how you can order stuff from us. BHMD.com, which is we have an online store with a warehouse. I think we're out of vitamin C over there. We have other really good stuff, but we're out of C, and we don't have separate zinc there. You can get zinc in a multi, first of all, but at Blum Center for Health, our bricks and mortar place, we just got our order of zinc in, and we got our order of powdered vitamin C in. And so I don't know how that we got a lot, but we definitely got a bunch. So that can also be ordered. And actually, you send your order to admin@blumcenterforhealth.com, and our team will ship it out to you. It won't go out till next week at this point on Monday. But yeah, there it goes. There is zinc in the Blum multi. There should be at least 15 milligrams of zinc in the Blum multi, and so you're fine. So if you have a multi, just make sure it has at least 15 of zinc. If you want to go higher, you can get a separate zinc supplement, and you can go even up to like 40 to 50 milligrams a day. If you want to really get your levels up, and if you want to if you feel like you're getting run down or you were exposed, or you want to double the dose, sort of what you do. And so we have vitamin C, we have zinc. You should be taking your vitamin D. Vitamin D is really, really important. At least 5,000 a day for the duration. If you know your levels run low, you might want to take 10,000 a day. That's an immunomodulator. It helps boost the immune function. Some mixed studies about whether you should stop taking the vitamin D if you got sick, because there's the concern about some products that they will, and actually it's not a lot of them, but vitamin D was just one of them. It's a little bit jury's out. So if you happen to get coronavirus, stop taking the D, but keep taking everything else. The other thing that we recommend a lot are these mushroom blends and these immune boosters. And so if you're doing a supplement that has whole mushrooms, that's really good, and you should keep taking that. Definitely take that for prevention, really good, and you can keep taking that if you get sick. If you get sick, the mushroom extract, like the beta-glucan products that have extracts of the mushrooms, there's some news that's been coming out in my world about, that at some point there's some products you don't want to get the immune system too fired up, because it'll be too much fire. And so it looks like it's just those. It's mostly those, and then elderberry as well, that it's really good for prevention. Keep taking that. But if you get sick, cut back on the elderberry. So elderberry, beta-glucan extracts from mushrooms, whole mushrooms should be fine. And the vitamin D. Those are the only things to stop if you get sick. Stay on your vitamin C, stay on your zinc, and those are really good. N-acetylcysteine is really good for supporting the lungs and the lung function as an antioxidant. It helps boost glutathione. So those are the things I think for now that everyone should be doing. All right, a lot of questions coming in. What's your opinion about eating fresh produce that's not cooked, and therefore any virus on it may not be killed? Should we stay? No. Okay. Eat fresh produce. There's no evidence the virus lives on a fresh produce. Okay. And so eat fresh produce, really good for you. You need the antioxidants. So how are you going to eat to support your immune system? Living on beans and rice is fine if we have to, but the more produce and colorful fruits and vegetables that you can eat right now, the better. All right. So you need to eat those foods. So I'm eating tons of that, and I would not worry about it. If that is a concern, although, like I said, it's not a big concern for me for fresh produce right now, you can just get produce and cook it, right? Cook whatever produce that you want to eat. But I don't think there's any evidence that I'm aware of that the virus is going to live on fresh produce. I think this is really person to person transmission mostly. And then there's a lot of, person to person comes first. There's a hierarchy and surfaces, but it's somebody who's really sick, and somebody who's sick. I mean, there are carriers that can spread it person to person, but I think all these things get lower and lower as you go down. And so I haven't read anything about living on fresh produce, but my opinion is to still eat it. We're a really small and close circle, but understand the point. Thanks for answering. What is the best thing to use for wiping down surfaces? It's been impossible to get hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes, or isopropyl alcohol, etc. If you don't have anything else at home then I would probably switch to Clorox, like the bleach that you probably have a thing of Clorox at home. Dilute it though, so it's not, dilute it in a little bit of water, put on gloves, that stuff smells, and I would wipe down your surfaces with that. If you can't find any of that, these things. Yeah, you can't find hand sanitizer now. Hopefully the shelves will get restocked of these things. I'm trying to find a thermometer. I can't find a thermometer. Believe it or not, I don't have a thermometer in my house. That's something you need, because how are you going to know if you're not well? All right. So the first sign is fever. That's why they're taking everyone's temperature as they get off a plane and going into another country to decide if you need to be quarantined. If you have a fever, that's the first thing. You need to isolate yourself from your family, go in another room, stay away from everyone, right? And so what does that mean to do to isolate yourself within the house? You actually have to stay in a room, hopefully only, and identify your bathroom, your room, and not share it with anyone else. And somebody has to provide your food for you on, and leave it outside your door. You actually can't come out. Um, you actually can't come out. That's a drag. And I actually know someone who's been busy doing that and finally got a test. We're waiting for the results. But, it's, this is an absolute awful drag. I mean, let's keep it just a drag and not a deadly drag. We don't want anyone in your families to get sick and God forbid, succumb to this virus. So these are all the things we're going to do so that we can all get through this. And staying home and isolating yourself is a small price to pay to keep everyone around you healthy. We talked about finding zinc. What's the connection with the ACE enzyme and this virus? So it appears that the virus so ACE is angiotensin converting enzyme, and it's a natural enzyme we have in the body, and there's actually receptors on our cells to this enzyme. And there are blood pressure medications that use this receptor. There's blood pressure medications that use this enzyme and block the enzyme. There's a whole relationship with a whole group of blood pressure medication and this ACE enzyme and the ACE receptor. And so it looks like that the virus enters the cells through this ACE receptor. And so they're trying to figure out if people taking this medication is good for them or bad for them. And so, or if it blocks it and makes things better, or harder for the virus, or if it makes things worse for the virus. So, so we don't really know. And so it doesn't affect anybody here. Unless if you're on one of those medications right now, the understanding is that you stay on it. It's not, we don't know that it's increasing or decreasing your risk. We don't know. The issue is really going to be if you end up the doctors are trying to figure out for people in the ICU, people that come in to the hospital, whether to take them off those meds or not. So that's where that is with that. The dosages for zinc and vitamin C, 5,000 to 10. Thank you. No, actually I said, oh yeah. Thank you. Melissa wrote down, stop the D3 beta glucan and elderberry if you get sick. Right. What about eating fresh oysters for zinc? Great. If you can get them. I don't know where you're going to live on zinc for the duration of the pandemic. So feel free to get zinc from whatever source you want. We just want you to get zinc. Yeah. And is white vinegar good to use as a cleaner? I do not keep bleach or toxic products in my home. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know whether white vinegar has any kind of anti-viral activity. So I can't answer that one for you. If that's all you have, then use it. And just keep checking online to see when these things open up, when you can get them again. You will be able to get them again. All right. The stores are restocking. If we have a 2-week lockdown, we'll all manage. If this goes on for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, I think we should all be prepared for a month. I'm not saying that to be alarmist. It's hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Hope for the best. Hoping it'll be 2 to 3 weeks and we all sit tight and we figure things out. Maybe they figure out medication that will help this thing. If the hospitals ramp up to capacity, it's all about the hospital system. We just have to get the hospitals working and the testing working. And if our healthcare system can figure it and get the resources they need and figure themselves out, then they can take care of sick people, and we'll have like a process for what happens if you get sick. Right now, if you get sick, it's a bit of an unknown how well you're going to fare in the system. And so I think we're gonna figure things out, as we go. And so in a week we'll know even more than we know now. And so hopefully it won't be for forever. And so it's not, I take that back. The word forever, I don't know, that just came out of my mouth. Hopefully it won't be more than 2 to 3 weeks. But it could be a month, or it could be, I think a governor of New York said to prepare for 6 weeks or 45 days. We're already a week in. So everyone's stressed about the economy. Everyone's stressed about their jobs. There's so much stress that seriously, if there's one thing to leave with today is, yes, take zinc. Yes, take vitamin C. Support your immune system with really good stress management tools. So exercise, get outside, sleep, keep up your schedule, meditate, do the best you can with that. Okay. What do you do if you get sick and live with someone else in a small space, 1-bedroom bathroom, especially if the other person is high risk? Well, I'm not sure what you would do. So if you're a high risk person, you right now, if you're living with a high risk person, in that case, Sandy, in your situation, you both should be on lockdown. You should put barricades at the door, and you have to make sure you don't get sick. You just cannot leave. You cannot leave. You have to stay home, and you minimize any interaction with the outside world. So in that kind of case, so everybody has to see how strict they need to be. You have to be on the strictest end of the high risk thing. That's it. Lock yourself up somewhere and don't come out. That's what you're going to have to do, because if you get sick, there's no, in other countries, they have these isolation places where you go report somewhere and they put you away so you don't get your whole family sick. They give you a place to go stay. And so that's a problem we were having. If there's someplace, if you get sick and there's someplace else for that person to go, to be in quarantine though for 2 weeks, because they will have been exposed to you, then that's ideal. But we don't all have those options. So you just make sure you don't get sick. What about calcium? Calcium has no role in immune function right now. So I've got nothing really to say about calcium. But you can keep taking your calcium if you'd like, or you can take a holiday from it right now if you'd like. That's fine. So let's see. Somebody raised their hand. I don't know how to answer that actually. So if you have a question, David Benjamin, who raised your hand, put it, if you don't mind just writing your thing in the chat. What about selenium? Okay. So selenium is a great antioxidant. It supports the body. It supports the thyroid. It supports glutathione peroxidase, which is the most important enzyme for making glutathione. So selenium is a really good general antioxidant. It doesn't have any direct antiviral activity itself. And it doesn't support and boost your natural killer cells, your T cells that are going to come fight this fight for you with the virus. So selenium doesn't have any direct immune boosting activity or any antiviral activity, but it's a great antioxidant. So I'm not going to tell you not to take it, but as a frontline, so most people are taking selenium if you have a multi. So if you're taking a multi, you're taking selenium. Okay, so where was I? As for supplements, I'm taking my multi every day, and probiotics, thank you. That's the only thing I forgot to add. Probiotics are great. Probiotics are going to help you. They're immune influencers. So probiotics really will help your immune system function at its best. It's called an immunomodulator or immune influencer. So it increases natural killer and activity and T cell activity in the body in a good way. So add on your list, add a probiotic. Okay, 30 to 50 billion right now is great. So definitely probiotics. No downside to that, only upside. I'm taking my multi every day and probiotics and my extra vitamin D, but I have to pull apart these capsules and put in applesauce since I have trouble swallowing capsules. Okay. Does the stomach acid kill some of the vitamins? No, you're fine. And therefore I'm not getting the same amount. No, you should be fine. As long as you're taking it with food, which you're supposed to always take vitamins with food for absorption anyway, then the stomach acid will be mopped up by the food, right? So you take all your vitamins with food. So even though you're in applesauce, take it with a meal. And my internet went out for a moment, so I missed what we should stop, why we should stop. If you get the virus, the idea is that the virus causes something overwhelming called a cytokine storm, which just means the immune cells release an enormous amount of free radicals to zap the virus, right? There's just, and it's called cytokines, is the name of the chemicals, and there's a storm, they're all released. And so the storm itself, so not only the virus, but it's the reaction to the virus that causes a lot of the damage in the lungs. And so smarter people than me have in the integrative medicine community did all this research figuring out what the different supplements do and how they boost immunity. And these three supplements, so the way I read it, it's maybe vitamin D. It's not 100% positive, but maybe vitamin D is one of that's those side is part of might contribute to that cytokine storm. That's the best way to say it. So it was vitamin D, and it was the mushroom beta glucans, like the extracts from mushrooms. Whole mushrooms seem okay. It's only this thing called beta glucan, and then also elderberry was on that list that I saw. So I'm just sharing that information with you. So I'm telling people vitamin D, elderberry, and the extracts and the mushroom extract, beta glucan. You want to, the other thing on there was large arabinogalactans. I haven't been prescribing those, but some of these things might fuel the cytokine storm, because we're trying to fuel the immune system, right? So you don't want to overfuel the immune system. These specific supplements fuel it in the direction, the same direction that the virus does. Everything else doesn't, right? So vitamin C, so probiotics, zinc, vitamin C, totally safe. You want to take selenium, great. N-acetylcysteine to boost glutathione and has always been used to protect the lungs, great. It helps support the antioxidant system in the lungs, and so that's and whole mushroom blends are fine as well. And so at least that's what's hot off the presses. So that's what I meant for that. My internet went, okay, how do I order vitamin C powder? Your site, I don't see it on the search, only the tablets. So I have two sites. One's Blum Health MD, bhmd.com. That's very limited. It only has some things on there, okay? Because that's all my private label stuff. In my office, I have a fully stocked office that has hundreds of things, right? That from all different supplement companies. And so that's where I have vitamin C. It's in my office. So my suggestion is just to email admin@blumcenterforhealth.com, and my team, I have one person going in every day to the office. So the way I'm managing our sort of lockdown is I'm only having one person at the front desk at a time, like out of my whole big space, only one person's coming in the front and one person's coming in the back. So I'm not going to have more than two people, and our doors are locked. Anybody who wants to drive by to pick up supplements, we put them on a bag. We put them in a bag and put them outside. So we're not having any more patients come into the office, and I'm keeping my people safe by keeping two people only, and I'm keeping them 6 feet apart from each other. Because everyone has family, for all I know, one of my staff is going to end up getting it. I mean, there's statistics, and I live in New York and my office is in Rye, and I'm pretty close to New Rochelle. So there's a lot of cases in my community, and the odds are that somebody's going to get it on my team. And so I'm keeping everyone separate. But you can order it from my office, and on Monday we will have somebody in sending out shipments from the office. Okay. What about vitamin A? Actually, vitamin A is on the list too. Thank you for bringing that up. Vitamin A is a fantastic, also antiviral and immune, an antioxidant. Vitamin A, you can take 5,000 to 25,000 a day. I mean, right now during this time, to boost your natural killers. And vitamin A, you can also, vitamin A, you can also go up to, when I have somebody with like the flu or Epstein-Barr virus or something, like I'm really going antiviral, for a short period of time, you can actually go up to 100,000 a day. So that's actually a really good tool for the toolkit. Because I don't know any of you, I'd probably say 25,000 short term. It's fat soluble, absorbable. So you don't want to stay on that for more than a month at that dose. But for the, well, I would say even 3 months, you're fine at 25,000. But you'll have to measure your levels at some point to stay that high. But that's a really nice high dose. Don't do that if you're pregnant. Over 5,000 a day is not safe for pregnancy, and definitely. But okay for the short term. Okay, so that's vitamin A. Will Adjacet help with stress? Should I increase my dosage? Don't just stay on the same dosage of Adjacet. It's an adaptogenic herb. It's going to help you support your adrenals. It's going to help you prevent you from getting adrenal fatigue. That's not the Zen formula that's going to help you like calm yourself down. This could be a time to be taking, like going back to that CBD, right? And to taking some CBD and helping us all with our collective anxiety. The unknowns here and the collective anxiety is just so bad. And I know I feel it, and I'm working hard to keep myself from having, feeling flushed. And it's not so much that I'm afraid, I'm concerned about everything, but I also am trying to keep my business afloat and keep my employees safe. And so I have this added responsibility of keeping a whole group of people healthy. And I feel that responsibility really strongly, so, okay. So what was the last thing that you don't prescribe? What was that last thing that you don't prescribe? Oh, I just said vitamin A, like I forgot to mention it. And so vitamin A, I sent out an e-blast last week with my recommended vitamins, and vitamin A was on that list. So I think that's what, Sandy, you missed. I can't seem to see the max vitamin C you should take. Sorry to ask again. So here's the thing about vitamin C. You can take as much as you want, but there's an issue with vitamin C that will cause loose stool, right? So you can end up with diarrhea. So we say you can take it to bowel tolerance. If you start getting sick, you should see if you can get up to 6 grams a day. That's 6,000 milligrams. I think for a daily dose, you can do anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000 right now. I think 2,000 to 3,000 is a good place to be protecting your immune system right now. And to double that and go up to 6 if you start feeling like you're getting sick, if you can tolerate it. People who have a history of kidney stones, you're at risk for kidney stones if you start taking really high dose vitamin C for too long. So be mindful of that if that's you. Yeah, that's the main thing about vitamin C. I think we have our tablets in our office. I just got a batch of the Perk vitamin C powder, I know. And then I think we're still waiting for the tablets. They're coming. Maybe they'll be in by next week. But it's really crazy. Like all of our supplement vendors, they're all back ordered also. So they're overrun in their warehouses. D3 and elderberry, okay, though, unless you get sick, right? Definitely take D3 now. Definitely take elderberry now. If you develop fever and think you have COVID, then stop taking those two things. I've been told to put oregano oil in water and put on the soles of my feet with a carrier oil to build my immune system. Thoughts? People love oregano oil. I don't know that I have evidence to tell you I know that works, but go for it. There's no harm. Oregano is great as an antibacterial. People swear that it keeps them from getting sick in the winter, which is a viral thing. So absolutely, do whatever you think and do everything. Okay. Do you think Paul Stamets supplements might be efficacious because they are whole mushrooms? Does your shop have whole mushrooms? Right now, we don't have any whole mushrooms left. Ours are all sold out. Although we have, actually, that's not true. We got a reorder from QOL, which is AHCC, which is whole mushroom. And so we do have some left. So in the office, you can order those. It's called immunokinoko. It's not beta glucan. It's actually AHCC. It's from one kind of a mushroom, but that one's fine. That's the one we just were able to get, like the last that they had. Other than that, we have Immunoberry, I think we still have from Designs for Health, but that is elderberry. It's got elderberry in it, and it's got beta-glucan, but that's really good for you right now for prevention. And so all these things you should take, it's still good to take right now. It's just that if you got sick, you would just focus on zinc and vitamin C and vitamin A. Our vitamin A we're all out of. We just got zinc and we just got C. I mean, it's just this week though, we're hoping we're going to get more stuff in. I don't know what to tell you. I think people are restocking as quickly as they can, but these things are very hard to find. Nope. Nope. Okay. Wrong email. So here's the right email to email: admin@blumcenterforhealth.com. Okay. That I just posted, that's the email to send for supplements to be shipped from our office. We have an online store with a warehouse that has plenty of, like, we have plenty of things like multivitamin with antioxidants and vitamin D and probiotics. And we have Ultra Inflamex protein shakes, which is an anti-inflammatory protein powder, which, and we put everything on sale 10% off. And so that one, the Ultra Inflamex protein shakes are called Soothe. We use, it's private label. The name Soothe is on there, but that's what that one is. So it's got turmeric. Curcumin is actually a really good thing to do right now. If you have turmeric or curcumin at home, it has antioxidant, very powerful antioxidant properties. But protein powders is something that could really sustain you. The immune system needs protein. So to have some protein powders on hand in case this thing goes a long time is a really good thing. That website, so sort of my warehouse, the warehouse for private label, I'm typing this for you, label stuff is blumhealthmd.com. That's a different website. Okay, that's the warehouse, that's offsite, and I have a limited products there, but I definitely have products there. The vitamin C I know is sold out there. So I'm sorry, this is just crazy, right? Okay, so where are we? Yes, retinol, vitamin A. Thank you for clarifying that. So when I said about vitamin A, you can get vitamin A. The common form of vitamin A is called beta carotene. Beta carotene is the way you find it in fruits and vegetables, and then your body activates it and converts it into vitamin A. And so the vitamin A that's active that I'm talking about is that converted product called retinol palmitate. It's not beta carotene. And so preformed vitamin A, it's called. You can find it in cod liver oil. Cod liver oil has some nice vitamin A in there. And some multis and some vitamins you'll see has preformed vitamin A in it. And so you do, so you definitely can get it that. So the vitamin A I'm talking about, that I do prescribe it. But I don't want to give you, I prescribe different kinds of dosing depending on if you are my patient. None of you are my patient. I'm just giving you general supplement guidelines. So preformed vitamin A, which is retinol palmitate, is you can get separate vitamin A supplements. They might be hard to find. Mine are back ordered right now in the office. I don't have them. You can get preformed vitamin A, and you can take it up to 25,000 IUs a day as a prevention. Okay. And so especially if you get sick and someone's in the house with you, you want to give them all these things for sure. I have some leftover liposomal glutathione from a naturopath who prescribed it for my son. He never once got sick for 2 years when he was on this. Is it okay for me to take this as an immune booster for prevention? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I said N-acetylcysteine, which is NAC. Selenium helps make glutathione too. And so glutathione is really good for the immune system. It's actually a really potent antioxidant, and that's how it works, right? It helps put out the free radicals and keeps the immune system sort of getting reloaded and reloaded and rebooted and rebooted. Because your immune system suffers a lot of oxidative stress, it's called. I mean, that's what gets you sick. Also is the cytokine storm I was talking about is rampant oxidative stress. It's like a runaway train of free radicals, and the immune system releases free radicals when it's doing its job to fight. And so it releases free radicals and causes all this oxidative damage around it. And so that's how the lungs get damaged. And so antioxidants help cure the free radicals, right? The antioxidants help do that. And so that's why we're talking about, and that's how glutathione will work. Okay. How long are expired supplements good for? I have even some from your place. I believe they're immune boosting packets and some protein powder. I would say if it says manufactured, a manufacture date, we usually say 2 years from manufacture date, but even if it's 3 years, I think you're good. If it says it's expired, I think you're good 6 months after expiration. If it's a year out or 2 years out, maybe not. But I think 6 months, within that first year out of expiration, if that's all you've got in the house, go for it. I think you're fine. Can you say the name of the food high in vitamin A again? All right, a lot of vitamin A questions. All fruits and vegetables are high in beta carotene, which is the color, right? It's like carrots, right? It's the orange. Beta carotene is vitamin A, is preformed vitamin A. Okay, that's that. You eat it, it gets activated and converted in the body into activated vitamin A, which is called retinol palmitate. And I'm going to put it up here. Retinol palmitate. Or that's the name typically. So there's little different versions of that name, retinoic acid. So, but retinol palmitate is sort of the usual name for preformed vitamin A. It's called preformed. So that's the name for activated vitamin A. We'll say that. There are foods and supplements you can get that have, you can buy it preformed. So you can buy it as beta carotene, and most, I'm putting it here, or as preformed vitamin A, and it will say retinol palmitate on the label. Okay, I wrote that out for you. So a lot of your supplements and your vitamins, when you look at your multi, it's going to say vitamin A, 5,000 IUs as beta carotene. Or as mixed carotenoids, okay? That's just beta carotene, which is fine. It's good for you. It's an antioxidant, really good. The thing that has antiviral activity, though, is if you buy the preformed vitamin A, and that's the one I was talking about that you can take anywhere from 5,000 up to 25,000, if a day, for really strong antiviral activity, okay? And so that's that. All right, so I hope I got that clear on vitamin A. And so that's it. So it looks like our time is coming to an end. A few people posted on Q&A. Let me just see, you left this. Can you please suggest sources for immune boosting recipes? You know what? I'm going to let, I see some names of my old patients. Good to see you all. Hope you're all staying home and staying safe. Come back and see me if you need me. We're working through this and doing everything by video. So, but anyway, yeah. So Melissa, we're actually one of our next blogs is going to be is going to be all antioxidant. Immune boosting recipes in general are things that are made with vegetables and produce. Okay, and so it's really going to be things that are rich in antioxidants. Now you can have that from your freezer. Frozen vegetables and frozen fruit is great. And so super duper antioxidant smoothie recipe is what's going to come in our next blog post. Melissa's working on that now. And so, yeah, like in all of the books I've written and our Blum Center cookbooks, but we'll be working on immune supporting recipes. I think that's going to be something we're going to continually be putting up on our blog. So look for that, but just open up your cookbooks and look for your recipes that have, well, you have to have the stuff in the house for sure. But it's really about looking for things that are high in antioxidants. Now, as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, okay, what's high in vitamin C? So not only oranges, and oranges are a great thing to stock up on if you can get them at a store. If the store has oranges, they stay forever in your refrigerator. So get a couple of bags of oranges. And so the other thing I thought of was, in terms of zinc, is foods that are really high in zinc is something like sunflower seeds. So look for recipes where you're using sunflower seeds. Eat them during the day, right? So you can Google food sources of zinc and really start, using these, bringing the zinc foods into your diet. Foods high in vitamin C, bring those into your diet, right? So those will be very good for your immune system. All right. So on that note, I'm going to sign off. Where time is coming to an end. It was really good to be with everybody, and I'm going to do this next Friday. If you want to just save up your questions and just be ready with them and just start posting them once we get here. Okay. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. And if I'm going to leave you with one message, it's take care of yourself. It's like what they say in the airlines, you put your oxygen mask on before the other person's. Take care of yourself, okay? Because you'll stop the transmission if you don't get sick. All right, so do it for yourself, do it for the community, and stay home. The more you can stay home and not leave your house for anything right now, the better, okay? Let people deliver stuff to your house, or if you have to go out and get food, get it from some place where you drive by and pick it up without a human, and then decontaminate everything when you walk in the house. All right, so that's my message for today. But ideally, just stay home. Okay, use up the food you have for now, and I'll check in with you next week, and we'll see how you're all doing. I'm looking forward to hearing, your updates. All right, have a good and safe week, and I will see you all soon.